Hey guys, welcome back to another beginner Python challenge. And this one is actually super practical because when you go shopping, you buy few items and you pay the cashier and get your change back, right? Today we are going to build that logic in Python. Yep, this program will actually ask the user the price of an item and then get the quantity and how much money they paid. And then it will calculate the total cost and tell them how much change they should get back. And let us break it down. You don't have to worry about what you're going to do because we are going to break it down using this particular flowchart and we will write a clean Python program step by step. So the first thing we have to do is to understand the flowchart logic. So here's what the flowchart for this exercise looks like. We will start and we will get the price per unit. We will read the quantity and even the amount paid. And then we will calculate this total cost using this formula. You don't have to crack the formula. It's already there. You just have to implement it. So it's quantity into price per unit. And then you will calculate the change as amount paid minus total cost. And then you will display the quantity of items purchased and total cost and even the change. And that's the end. It's pretty simple. Let's go through this carefully so that you really get how each part exactly works in Python. And yeah, let's get the user inputs first. So all you have to do is to get the price per unit. So let's just give price per unit input. Enter the price of an item. And then we have to get the quantity. It's input. Enter the quantity of items purchased. And then we need amount paid. Float. Input. Enter the amount paid. And also give these things in the desired input you want. I want quantity to be in input integers and price per unit should be float. Okay. So now we have got our inputs and they are in the correct format to do the math. So now let's calculate the total cost and change. So first let's calculate the total cost. So total cost equal to quantity into price per unit. Okay. And then we have to calculate the change, which is amount paid minus total cost. But wait, we should only calculate change if the amount paid is enough to cover the total cost. Otherwise, we can show a friendly message, something like this. So, in order to calculate the change, if the amount paid is enough to cover the expenses, then here we are going to use if condition. You don't have to worry about what is this if now. It's just a condition that we will check. So we are just checking the amount is enough or not. So that is why we need this if condition. Now don't think that if is something new, I don't know how to do it. You don't have to worry about that. Just blindly follow that. Just blindly follow the syntax. If amount paid is greater than or equal to total cost. If the user gave the paid amount is equal to or is more than the total cost, then only we can calculate the change, right? It's basic. So change equal to amount paid minus total cost. If not, what if the user didn't give the enough amount? So you just have to print this first, saying that, and I'm using f strings here. So your change is I want it in decimals, so 0.2f mandatory, then rupees. Okay. What if the amount is not sufficient? So then we will go to else. So just print insufficient amount paid. Please provide enough to cover the total cost. And yeah, this will actually help us prevent errors and makes our programs feel smarter. Okay. So here what we did, if we got the enough amount or if we got the more amount than the actual cost, then we can calculate the change. And this is the formula to calculate the change. And here you are printing the calculated change as output. If the user did not give the sufficient amount, then we will print insufficient amount paid. Please provide us enough to cover the total cost. So that is what we are going to, you know, show it to the user, so that even user will think like, oh, I have to add more amount, so I have to give more money. Okay. Now let's display all this clearly. So I'm going to display it here. So just have to print. It's like a receipt. So I'm using /n, which is nothing but it will help the Python program to print the output in the next line. So purchase summary. And then you're going to print. Again, I'm going to use f strings here. So quantity purchased. Quantity. And print total cost. And we need this in decimals, 0.2f. And okay. So this is what we are going to do. So then inside the if block, we show the change. If not enough is paid, we already print a warning. So this gives a really nice user experience like a mini bill. Okay. So here is the full program. So we have got 3 inputs from the user: price per unit, quantity, and amount paid. And then I'm actually calculating the total cost. And then we are actually showing the summary to the user. And then we are calculating the change, because if user gave the expected cost, then it will calculate the change. If not, then it will show insufficient amount paid. So it's pretty neat. You can run this program, enter some values, and get a full checkout summary like you're building a point of sale system. Let's try. So the price of an item, 20 rupees maybe, and the quantity is 3, and the amount paid maybe 75. So the quantity purchased 3 items, total cost 60 rupees, and your change is 15 rupees. It's pretty simple. And what if you give insufficient amount? And enter the price of an item, maybe 30 rupees, and enter the quantity 2, but you just paid 30 rupees. So the quantity purchased 2 and total cost 60 rupees, but insufficient amount paid. Please provide enough to cover the total cost. So this is what user will see. So the quick pro tips for beginners. So before we wrap up, here are few, some quick tips that you should follow. I would suggest always you to convert your inputs with float or integer depending on the data that you have, and always try to use 0.2f in f strings, especially in order to format the money or decimals. And always check if the user entered enough money. Don't just assume that user will enter the amount that you're expecting. So always see what's wrong, what might get wrong, and then accordingly you have to write the code. And also keep your output clean and user friendly, especially for real world use, because if you don't print this message, how user will understand that he actually gave insufficient amount? So that's how you have to print the expected, result according to the situation. And yeah, that wraps up exercise 5, and we built a real world checkout calculator using just a few lines of Python. And if this helped you, give the video a thumbs up, hit that red subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next Python challenge. And we are learning by doing, and that's the best way to master coding. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.